Donkey, strike you down.
Really drives me freaking crazy. Let me finish. That is absurd. What a disgrace. Now, for crying out loud, I'm glad you came back, doggy.
Strike me
down. Yes, sir. I can't hear you guys. Started, they took my headset off. Where is the doping thing? Strike me down. Yes, sir. On the strikes. I didn't win the game because of that. Don't go now when I ask for it. I am strong and powerful.
We wait all week for this. Mad Dog, what are you mad about?
I had so many that I could use this week. I really did have a lot, so I'm going to have to go back. Listen, there's going to be some old ones here, but that's what I'm most passionate about, and that's what we're trying to have fun with. Number one, now I bet the Rams, so I was okay with it, but how about we get on Shane Steichen, the Indianapolis Colts head coach? What does he do in the offseason? Last year, Jonathan Taylor in Denver. This is the one on Sunday when the receiver made a nice catch, AD, and then he, trying to show off going in the end zone, and he fumbled it out of bounds. And it was Rams ball at the 20. Now you'd say, all right, it was a freaky play. Hold on now. This happened last year. Look at the date. And here's Jonathan Taylor. This is a huge game against Denver. And he did the same thing. And Denver made the playoffs and not the Colts. Could you imagine if you're a Colt fan? So basically twice in 5 weeks spanning the same year, we got this Coach Steichen. You got to tell your kids, guys, enough of this. End zone, then drop him. Listen, one time you give him a little break. You can't allow your team to make this mistake twice in battle. Don't you show film? You think Lombardi would allow that to happen? How about Landry? How about Shula? How about Paul Brown? How about George Hallis? How about Clark Shaughnessy? No shot. That drove me crazy. That is number one with the 2 fumbles.
Not only did that kid Mitchell, not only did he lose the ball heading into the end zone, but a holding penalty took away
another touchdown.
Yes. Took away another touchdown. That was a bad afternoon for him.
Marcus, twice.
I agree. I don't think A.D. Mitchell was trying to show off. He was probably just trying to reach across the goal line, but I'm with you, man, dog. Just keep running straight through.
What would Hank Stram have done?
He would have gone on NFL Films, famous NFL film thing. Number 2.
Right.
I love Chris Christie, and he called me last week on the air. He calls you, Christopher. He says, well, if we lose to Miami.
Former governor.
Jersey. Well, he's a big Met fan. He's on the board of directors. If we lose to Miami, it's disappointing. Disappointing? What are you, crazy? You were 45-24, the Mets, with a 5.5-game lead on June 13th. So the Mets, who lost 4 out of 6 to Washington late in the year, who lost 3 out of 4 to the Marlins at home after they swept the Phillies, the Mets in an expanded National League, okay, where this many a team make the playoffs, and it's not like the Reds went 40-5 down the stretch, 13-8. The Mets walked into Florida this weekend knowing they had to win a couple of games to get into the postseason. And what happens? They go into Sunday needing a little help, and the Brewers give them the help. They scored 4 in the 3rd inning. They beat the Reds 4-2. All the Mets have to do is beat Miami, and they're in the postseason, for crying out loud. How do you think my buddies Sharpie and Doug Glanville liked it last night when instead of the Mets-Dodgers, they got Reds-Dodgers, and it's 10-0 in the 6th inning, for crying out loud? How in the world could you do this? This is a disgrace. You want to blame David Stern. Think about this for a second. In game 162, in game 162, the Mets with a $350 million payroll did not have a starting pitcher. The pitcher they used, Sean Manaea, 5 batters he faced. I mean, that is unbelievable. And hold on now. Everybody killed me at Metland in the summertime. You were here.
Yes, sir.
When I made a big deal about Alonso. I said, what a waste of time about this stupid home run. When he had the Met record of 253 and the Mets made a big deal about it and they went crazy. Here's that home run. The polar bears on an iceberg. That's all that nonsense. Well, when Alonso's season was over on Sunday afternoon in Miami, the body wasn't even cold yet.
What did he say, Mad Dog?
He said, Petey, are you going to opt out? Yeah, I'm opting out. crazy. And I went nuts. I said, this is ridiculous. You're making a big deal about 253 home runs. Aaron Judge broke DiMaggio. You didn't even know it with the Yankees. And then Alonso, again, 2 minutes in. Well, yeah, I'm up and out. Drove me crazy. What a weekend for the Mets. What a weekend for the Mets. The Cincinnati Reds, with a payroll of $80 million, fly into L.A. on Sunday night after they lost.
Oh, my
because
God.
the Mets can't get the job done. That's number 2.
That's good, man.
Not to beat up on him, Mad Dog.
I will say this.
Oh, man.
The last weekend with the playoffs on the line, they were in Miami. It's a distraction.
I already know.
Distractions
in
Distraction.
You had Mo for dinner?
It's a distraction.
Did you have Mo for dinner?
I wasn't there. I wasn't there.
Mad Dog.
It's a
Where
distraction.
were you?
Mad Dog.
Some speech somewhere that
Mad
nobody
Dog.
cares about?
Mad Dog.
Where were you?
What
Why do you think nobody cares about?
Nobody cares about.
Why do you have that in?
Where were you, Stevie? What did Alonzo say, man, dog?
Yeah, I'm up and out.
And he did too. He absolutely did.
Oh, he
They said,
did.
yeah.
Oh, that was such a
They
bad-
had his locker. He was like this.
That was such a bad look. Oh.
Mad Dog, also, the Met fan, you know, what football team do they typically like?
The Jets.
Tough weekend. Tough weekend.
Oh, my God.
Number 3, and I love this one. All right, and you can kill the fan base 100%. How about the U.S. at the Ryder Cup? And that includes us, the fans, at Bethpage. First off, the PGA Golfing of Association of America, they hired a comedian to make the introductions. Did you see this?
Yes, I did.
On Saturday, and she makes the introductions by cursing out Rory McIlroy on the first tee. This is golf. You can't say blank you McIlroy when she introduces him on the first tee. That is a joke. And here it is, the U.S.
Look at
They
it.
set the course. Yes, sir, Rory. I'm the only guy in America who rooted for Europe. And I rooted for Europe hard. Oh, my God. I was so happy when Larry made that 6-foot putt to win it on 18 there on Sunday afternoon. But think about this for a second. First off, the course was way too easy. Birdies all over the place. Stephen A. would break 80. And he
don't play
stinks.
golf.
We saw him pitch. He stinks. Did you see him with the 3-iron in his hand? Steve, the hole's over there, not that one. That is number 1. That is number 1. The course is way too easy. The lineup was a disaster. How was Colin Morikawa? How was he on this team? Okay, he was a captain's pick. They have 6 guys automatic and 6 players who are captain picks. Morikawa, there's Keegan. Morikawa has been so bad the last 2 years. And if we had a putt the show, oh my God, he is such an awful putter. And somehow he made the team. Furthermore, he's the same guy there in March who was screaming and yelling about the media. I don't need the media. Get out of the way. I don't want to hear from the media. I owe you nothing. And then Morikawa, look at this putt. Oh my God. Don't pass the hole. He was so bad. Where's Patrick Reed? They don't want to have Patrick Reed on the team because he's on LIV. Where is Koepka? They don't want to have Koepka on the team because he's on LIV. So we put Morikawa on the team, who was awful. Not only that, Keegan Bradley, I got to wake up. On Friday morning, he put Morikawa with Harris English. They got destroyed. They didn't even get to the 10th hole. It was so bad. They lost badly. So what does he do? He puts the same team out the next day. And they got killed again. Oh, my God. It was not a great week for U.S. golf. And this rule, you know about this rule? Hovland couldn't play for the Europe. You hear about this? Hovland couldn't play for Europe because he had a neck injury. And so there's a rule that if he can't play, you get a half a point. What? How do you get a half a point in Ryder Cup? So Hovland can't play, and they still got a half a point.
Half a point.
If you can't get on the air, do you get paid? No! You don't get a half a point for that. Change the stupid rule. How could you not be available for your team to play? Oh, no big deal. We'll take one guy out of the United States team, and we'll give you a half a point. You say, what's the big deal? We're trying to make a comeback. That's the big deal. That half a point's a big half a point. And as a result, the score was 15-13 because he made a great run on Sunday afternoon. Oh, my God. The Ryder Cup, enough. And the fans. Did you see what they did on Saturday?
It was awful.
They throwing stuff at Rory Mac, and I'm a Long Islander.
And his wife.
And his wife.
Wife's head.
And I am a Long Islander. Don't laugh at me. I'm a Long Islander who played golf at that golf course a million times. They had to bring out the National Guard to hang out the 10th hole because McIlroy's getting a hard time with his wife.
Damn.
Those fans were so freaking out of line, and they deserve all the abuse they can get. And then that's amplified by the lady who the PGA hired to say blank you to McIlroy on the tee box on Saturday morning.
I feel that.
I mean, you can't make it up how bad in certain situations they were. But the lineup that Keegan Bradley put together is Captain Pitts and Morikawa a disgrace. I don't want to see, next time I want to see Colin Morikawa, go play on a Corn Ferry tour. I have had enough. Number 3.
I just learned about the Corn Ferry tour. More birdies.
More birdies. I told you that before. More birdies. No, listen, it's a lot of golf there, but that was a rough weekend.
No, I totally agree with everything you said. The only modification I would make is that
You will get paid. If you're
my
not
money's guaranteed. I'm getting paid, no matter what. My dollars are guaranteed.
Man, no, anytime you bring it up, it's going to have a rebuttal.
Oh, I know with him with the money.
You bring the money
Oh,
in,
you're dead with him with the money.
Yeah.
You're dead. You're dead. You can't. But this rule that somehow you get a half a point.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's a stupid rule.
You should be penalized for it.
So you can't answer the bell, you lose the point.
That's right. No doubt.
Totally so.
But the drama on Sunday late when we made a comeback, I know you guys are watching the football, was very. Did you see some of that?
Of course I was
it was
watching.
good.
They should have kept in there and read.
Oh, and read.
Without question.
All right, I've said enough.
That's
I
good.
wasn't as
Without
funny as last week, but we got.